Okay, good morning, everybody. I call the April 1st, 2025 meeting of the Judicial and Public Safety Committee to order. A quorum of the members is physically present. I will entertain a motion to permit those members not physically present due to personal illness or disability, employment purposes, or the business of the board, family, or other emergency or unexpected childcare obligations to participate by video or teleconference. Do I have a motion? All right, motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, member Heather, thank you for zooming in.
Thank you,
Okay.
Chair.
Okay, so can I get a roll call, please?
Chair Evans.
Here.
Member Childress, Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Header, Member Honig,
Here.
Member Krajewski, Member Ozog, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornatori, Member Yu, Member Zay.
Okay, thank you very much. Chair remarks, it's election day. Everybody stay calm. And I hope you had a great weekend. And so with that, let's move on to, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the Tuesday, March 18th, 2025 meeting? Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Oh, sorry, I forgot to ask. Is there any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Okay, no public comment. Moving on to resolutions, can I get a motion to approve JPSR 5-25? Resolution to rescind JPSP 39-24 issued to Video and Sound Service, Inc. to provide maintenance and repair of the campus security system as needed for the county campus contract total amount of $301,582. Okay, we got a motion. Did we get a second? Okay, second, Member Zay. Was there any questions or comments? Member Garcia.
Yeah, just a quick question on this, and I was looking, I know this is being rescinded. Is there still work to be done that needs to be done that's being done on another contract?
Okay, I think Valerie's going to answer that.
Thank you.
So yes, we currently do have a contract in place. We awarded this vendor back in November. Unfortunately, they weren't able to perform. So we did go out for another bid, and that was approved in February.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments about that? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Moving on to action items, can I get a motion to approve item 25-889? Curry Motors, Frankfurt, Inc. This purchase order is decreasing in the amount of $308,518 and closing due to expiration of the contract. Okay, motion by Childress. Anybody second? Okay, members A second. Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, members A.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I see our illustrious transportation directors here. I'm assuming there's two of these that we're having issues getting vehicles again. That's why we're seem to be canceling these contracts and looking elsewhere. Steve, is that the case, which is troubling?
So right now we are having luck with purchasing vehicles through dealerships, et cetera. The decrease in close issues are for older contracts where we were having no trouble during the pandemic and post-pandemic. So where we couldn't get vehicles delivered, those contracts were not honored, frankly. So we're at a point where we're just trying to get them off the books. Anything that was supposed to be purchased vehicle-wise has been purchased through other means.
Okay, so the co-ops weren't working, so we've been working locally with the dealers and we can find one wherever it is they're going and getting them.
Yeah, it's still in our best interest to do that on occasion. If we can get a co-op to work with us right now, we do it.
Okay, great, thank you.
Steve, we are now fully, we have all the vehicles that we've been needing, right?
We, based on that original master list that was created a couple years ago, we are in the tail end of getting everything that's on that list.
Okay.
So we're working through it right now. I don't know that we're 100% done, but we're getting
Okay, pretty close though. That's really good. Okay, any other questions or comments on that? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Moving on to grants, can I get a motion to approve item 25-890. GPN 625 Family Violence Coordinating Council, SFY 26, Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority in the amount of $49,000. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Can I get, moving on to informational, can I get a motion to receive and place on file item 25-891, Public Defender's Office Monthly Statistical Report for February of 2025? Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. Can I get a motion to receive and place on file item 25-8929, 74-hour LLC DBA Chevrolet of Watsonville National Auto Fleet Group, decrease the remaining encumbrance and close a contract that was initially for 16 Ford Broncos for various DuPage County departments. And it was canceled by the vendor shortly thereafter due to supply chain interruptions and reduced inventory. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Does anybody have any old business? Okay, no old business and new business. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I wanted to have a discussion over an issue that was brought to my attention last summer, actually. In unincorporated West Chicago, I was getting a handful of requests for help from neighbors because there's a certain neighbor who basically had parties until 2 a.m., outdoor parties under a tent once a week, apparently at times. And so I reached out to the state's attorney last year, Barb, answered my questions. And basically what I was told and what this neighbor actually told me, that the same information that he received from the sheriff's department, was that DuPage County doesn't have a noise ordinance that directly could handle this specific complaint. I guess after talking with the state's attorney, there is a noise ordinance that deals with industrial type of noise and things like that. But the sheriff's department was called numerous times last summer, and we just had nothing with any teeth in it. So this summer, or actually not this summer, this last month, about 6 weeks ago, I received another email from the resident saying, hey, nothing's happening yet, but is there anything we can do to get a noise ordinance going just in case this happens again? I would expect it to happen again. So I sent a quick email over to the state's attorney's office saying, hey, is there anything we can do? And lo and behold, before I could even get a response, Connor and his staff worked to put together an ordinance, which I know you have. So I guess my question is, municipalities have noise ordinances. I mean, there's I think common sense and reason that is applied to those ordinances, and I was wondering if we could do something and maybe have discussion on the one that we just got sent, you and I just got sent a couple days ago.
Great, yeah, this is a great discussion. So would anybody else like to chime in? Actually, should we get some more information on it first, or and then we can see what kind of questions everybody has?
Sure. I think myself and the state's attorney's office will kind of tag team this, and Barb, correct me as I'm, if wrong. Upon the request from Member Schwarzy, as said, Assistant State's Attorney Connor McCarthy drafted an ordinance. Within that ordinance, what it does is between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., if there's excessive noise and it can be heard from 100 feet of the residential structure, a fine or a ticket could be issued. That first fine would be $100. The second, third, and their fourth could go to $500 and up to $1,000. This does not require any, decibel reader or anything like that. It's basic. If you're standing outside on the opposite side of the street and you're a sheriff deputy walking out, you would be able to hear that noise, and that would, for a majority of the county, fit that 100-foot parameter. With that, there is other municipalities, as Member Schwarzy indicated, that do things like this. This is where I'll look at council over there. The 100 feet is a legally defensible size relation. That's what's been held by courts. So that would be what is currently going to be proposed. If you guys, as the will, we could bring it at the next JPS meeting or wherever you guys tell us to do. Did I cover everything?
She did a great job. The only thing I would add is this is amplified noise. That's how we've made it easy to get away from the machine. This wouldn't just be people being loud. It's something amplified. And there's a number of exceptions, church bells, and anytime you get a special permit, you guys would, I don't want to read the whole ordinance draft to you, but you would have it in front of you. There's a number of reasonable exceptions.
Very good point. I mean, like traditional of semi going by on a road, I think a commercial, things like that would be in a good exemption as well. Thank you. I forgot about that.
Okay, so we have member Honig and then member Zay.
Thank you, Chair. And I'm assuming this is only applied to unincorporated areas, correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Member Zay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now, they're going to issue a citation or a ticket. Would this go to our adjudication court or would it go to the circuit?
This would go to circuit court. It would be an actual citation.
And we have the authority without home rule?
Yes, to the best of my knowledge, I'll
It's in
defer to
our
the state's
police
attorney's office.
powers to be able to do this, yes. To
Okay.
enact a nuisance ordinance, we'd be doing it as a nuisance ordinance.
Thank you. I mean, we can form, we want like a special task force to go out. You know, check these parties out. I know, member Eckhoff and I were, available, but we're not usually awake after 10 o'clock, so that could be a problem. So,
Member Shorzy? Yeah. Did you want to?
I haven't had a chance really to talk to, Sheriff Mendrick or, I don't know is this something that they would be easily to enforce and so forth?
Member Schwartz, a great question. I can let you know, I did talk to the circuit court as well as the sheriff's office. Both individuals indicated to me this would not be a burden to adding to a court call, as these would probably be far and few between. We don't think it's a norm, so it wouldn't add much to a misdemeanor call. And then as well as the undersheriff's office, the sheriff's office, in speaking with the sheriff's office, they've indicated that if it's a tool in their pocket, it's something that they'd be able to use and they have no objection. One concern was if they were going to have to use any technology to be able to hear it. Well, based on this ordinance as it's written, that's not the case. So it would be perfectly fine and it shouldn't add another extra burden to them.
And then my next question would be, look, everybody loves a warning. Would they have the opportunity to give a warning, or is this set in stone that they have to?
They would continue to have their police discretion. I mean, as it's written,
Okay.
I think this would be one of those tools that if something was
If
not
you have
going
to
the way
come
it was
back.
supposed to be,
Yeah.
yes, I would imagine that's how it'd be enforced, but I can't speak for each individual officer who has
Okay.
that sole discretion.
Thank you.
Thank you. And member Heather. And then member Rutledge.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Member Schwarze, for bringing this to our attention. I think this is a great discussion. And thank you, Jason, for sharing all this detailed information about the ordinance. I have two questions. One, is 100 feet a normal limit to such ordinances throughout the municipalities across DuPage County? And second, do municipalities also have a decibel limit to the noise pollution that we are trying to contain? Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm gonna defer to Ms. Reynolds on
It's
the
a
first
great
part
question.
there.
There are municipalities that go even closer than 100. There are some that go to 50. That could be challenged. 100 is a much more reasonable standard that we feel comfortable. There's cases on that say that's reasonable. And then as far as the decibels, that gets into the enforcement issue. If you write the ordinance like that, it's very difficult because you have to continually have that machinery calibrated, and then you have to prove that in court. It probably wouldn't be enforced as much because it costs a lot of money to enforce, and the outcome isn't as good. And that's why I wanted to.
Thank you, Barb. So would you say that most?
Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, please.
Oh, just that the way this,
So
and I want to give Connor credit because Connor McCarthy is the one that drafted this.
Mhm.
He did a nice job in defining the amplification, and this is amplified. I think to Member Schwarze's initial concern, this is when somebody has a huge party with a DJ, you have a microphone. This is not just people gathered being loud, and there's lots of exceptions, emergency equipment, a number of exceptions that I think you guys would find reasonable.
Thank you, Barb. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Member Heather. Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Evans. Great discussion, Greg. Thank you for this. My question is, if we have this discussion and we put this ordinance in place, what's the timeline for that? We're coming up on party season, so.
Staff would be looking at the direction of what the board would like to do. This is already written. We just have to write the resolution, or the ordinance itself, which won't take, it could be in 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
That's
my
it's just at your
question.
discretion.
Appreciate your answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Desart.
Thank you. And Barb, based on the new information that you just provided and, going along with Member Rutledge, it is party season, graduation parties and such are coming up. So if somebody wanted to get a band and a tent and a microphone and, amplify the party with that, is there a way to get a permit for a one-time function? I mean, I
There
understand what
is.
Member Schwarzy is saying about somebody who has parties every single week, but what if it's like a one-time thing? Is there an out for them to get a permit?
They can request a special permit from the county, and that's written right into this ordinance that that's an exception if they have gotten a permit.
Excellent. Thank you.
Member Garcia.
Thank you so much. With the 4th of July also in the summertime, is this going to be another toot that we'll have for fireworks that are being done late at night? I'm talking for my dogs on their behalf.
It would not cover that. Unfortunately, I don't think it would. We could look into that. That's a great question, but the way
Thank
it's
you.
written right now is something that's amplified. It's a good question. We'll look
Okay,
into that.
Okay, we have Under Sheriff Moore on the line, so I'd like to have him speak.
Oh, can you hear me? Good morning.
Sir.
Morning.
I just tuned in and I heard this conversation going on. I had a question. On what citation will we write this? Will this be able to add it to the circuit clerk's system? Or will we need to purchase ordinance tickets for this this particular ordinance?
To the best of my knowledge, we'd be able to add it through the circuit courts.
Okay, we are all in agreement. This is good and we have no problems, adding this to our repertoire and getting this done when necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Under Sheriff Moore. We have Honig again and then Zay again.
Thank you, Chair. I guess my question is that in the ordinance, is it, because I know it's an amplified noise, but there's so many different types of amplified noise, like you said, a microphone, but there could be multiple speakers. And I know dealing with a lot of these ordinance issues in Lombard in the past, there was a lot of neighbor to neighbor problem where a neighbor was playing music in their garage and blasting it to the neighbor that, his house, specifically adjacent to that lot was, I think, just like above 50 feet. But it was still next door. So I guess, to Member Schwarzy's point, I don't know if it's someone that's next door or, in the vicinity, but I guess that was my ultimate question is that, does it affect that, it's a vicinity on like near the property or just is it generalized like?
It's 100 feet.
Okay.
Most often it is a neighbor that's next to it. And if with close property lines, that's the reason I think some communities have done 50 feet. Definitely pushing it with the courts. It's 100 feet. We know we can sustain a challenge. I'm not sure about 50 feet.
Okay.
But if you
Right.
can hear it from 50 feet, you can probably hear it from 100 feet, right?
Right.
Right. Okay, and then Member Zay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I just want to thank the undersheriff because I want to make sure they're on board with this because obviously when people have parties, someone's not calling at 10 o'clock, they're calling later at night. I'm sure there's been a consumption of different beverages and everything else. You're kind of not always walking into a happy, fun place. They don't want to put our sheriff's deputies into kind of a, party pooper guy coming in and people getting upset and, making sure that they're okay with how they're going to use the citation. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Member Zay. My only question is like, if it's an acoustic band and it's not amplified, they can, there's nothing we can do about that, right? In this ordinance. Like the drum
No,
set, you know?
I don't think it's specifically addressed in that. I think that that's something we would have to look at though. Yeah, I don't think it's specifically addressed in the current draft. And again, we just put this for shocking points and
Right.
what would be the legal muster. And thank you, Mr. McCarthy and Ms.
Right.
Reynolds for that.
Yeah, the way it's written, it's very good. There are going to be exceptions, but, okay, Member Schwarzy?
Well, and thank you for this discussion. And I just want to say, and I didn't say this earlier, the residents, plural, meaning not just one, I got an email from 2 or 3 people, but the sheriff's department had multiple complaints from that neighborhood. They did try to talk to this house and they were sort of scoffed at. So it wasn't like they didn't try, because being a good neighbor is letting your neighbor know that, hey, I don't want to call the police, but can you, and they refuse. And I don't know how many, Under Sheriff Moore probably doesn't have this number off the top of his head. How many noise complaints do they get, every year? Do they respond to that they can't really do anything about? I think this hopefully will cut that down, actually, in my opinion. So thank you.
Right. Do we need consensus?
I just need direction on what you guys want me to do. You
Yeah.
want me to bring it in 2 weeks or no?
I think it's a good idea. Okay,
Yeah,
all
then
right.
we'll get that on the agenda.
okay. Thank you so much. Okay, any other new business? A Member Desart?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to ask, since we have Under Sheriff Eddie Moore on the line, I wanted to ask you, some of us attended a really interesting presentation yesterday for the ISACO JPS committee, and we talked about Karina's Law. And when somebody has an order of protection, law enforcement has to go get the person's gun. And they mentioned 96 hours. They have 96 hours to have their guns confiscated. And I'm wondering what, just out of curiosity, how you go about that in the sheriff's office, Eddie?
Good
And
morning.
how prioritized, I guess.
Well, we'll prioritize them as we get them in. And the 96 hours, I believe, and we're still trying to unravel Karina's Law. We're going to have to get a search warrant, and the search warrant is usually 96 hours. So with the search warrant, will allow us to go into the residence and then search and take any and all guns available in that home. So we're going to have some more training on this Karina's Law. I believe the state attorney's office has got some things set up for us. And I believe Deputy Chief Bilodeau has a couple of things set up for my staff. And we'll have more in the future on this within the next couple of weeks.
Well, I appreciate that. And one of the things that I brought up during the meeting yesterday was the fact that the shooter at the Pratt in Aurora, the Pratt factory building a couple of years ago, where the shooter killed 5 people, that the shooter had an order of protection against him, because of domestic violence, and their gun was just never taken away because, I know you guys in law enforcement are stretched thin. So I understand that it would probably be difficult to keep track of every order of protection and go out and get the guns. So, I appreciate what you do, and I can't wait to hear more about how you plan to affect Karina's Law. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Desart. Any other new business? Okay, without objection, we are adjourned.